There were two peanuts walking down the street. One was assaulted. Get it? Assaulted. Salted peanut. Assaulted. The peanut was beaten to death. I cracked myself up. But, hello everyone, Ryan here. So this is my wrap-up for February. For the month that follows January. So anyways, before I get into it, I wanted to address, recently there was a fellow booktuber asked me a question about, by the way, her channel name is Idealhoolagain. Yeah, something along those lines. I'll provide a link to her channel. You can check her out. A while ago, we both found out that we live in the same city in El Paso, Texas, and we kind of thought it would be cool, like if we try to start some local book club thing. And but anyways, I guess I should talk about that at a later date. So, but she commented, I think, in one of my recent reviews, and she asked me like why I never show my face in most of my videos, and to which I replied with, I do sometimes. And I mean, in fact, when I first started my channel, yeah, I did the typical just stand in front of the camera and talk about stuff and whatnot. And I don't know, I guess for me, like, there are many different reasons. I guess one being that I feel like I get bored very easily just standing in front of the camera and staring into it, and yeah, I don't know. And also too, I like experimenting with the editing process, and then another reason is, which I think for me is definitely one of the biggest reasons, that where I live, there's a lot of people in my house, because I mean, from time to time, well, usually like, most of the time, most of the day, I got like my nephews playing in the background, or my niece shouting at my nephews, and then like where I live, like pretty much every neighbor has loud barking dogs, and I don't know, sometimes the barking just gets to me and I can't focus, and so anyways, long story short, that's sometimes it's easier for me to edit audio only as opposed to video things, and so yeah. Anyways, it's about like almost 4 minutes in here, so I'll go ahead and get right into it here about what I read. So of course I listened to the audiobook of Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn. I reviewed it. I thought it was okay. I liked it. If you want to check out my review of it, I'll provide a link to it. It was hard for me to get into right away, and yeah, I tried reading the physical book a couple of times before, ended up losing interest, but at least the audiobook was, with the audiobook, it was able to hold my interest. So the ending was also pretty interesting. So and I also listened to an audiobook called Travels with Charley by John Steinbeck. I reviewed that too. I'll provide a link to that if you want to check out that review. All it is this nonfiction thing that John Steinbeck wrote back in, I want to say like 1960 or early 1960s. He traveled the country with his dog, which was like this French poodle named Charley, and yeah, and of course, for me, the most interesting thing about it was when he made his way through the South, and I don't know. I mean, I guess technically it wasn't the first time he was forced to confront prejudice. Maybe it wasn't. No, I don't think so. But it was interesting nonetheless. Again, if you want to check out the review, I'll provide a link to that too. And I also read, or rather, started out reading, then ultimately ended up listening to the audiobook of A Brief History of Time by Stephen W. Hawking. The audiobook is actually, it's read by Michael Jackson, the king of pop. No, as a different Michael Jackson, but you know, I mentioned that in my review of it. I'll provide a link to that too. And then I listened to another audiobook. Now bear with me, I might not be able to pronounce this title correctly, but I'm going to try. It's Dear Igiawere, or A Feminist Manifesto and 15 Suggestions by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. I probably butchered that whole thing. But I heard about this author a couple times before throughout Booktube, and I came across this audiobook. I decided to give it a listen because it's pretty short, and it's definitely interesting insight into, I guess, feminism, but I guess actually more, because it has to do with the author. She was written a letter by her friend. Her friend asked her for, I guess, advice on how to raise her daughter to be a feminist, or at least aspire to some kind of feminist ideal. And it was actually pretty interesting. I've already reviewed this. I mean, I've recorded my review of this. I've yet to upload it, so I'll upload it within the next day or so. So yeah. And then I read an ebook titled Scaredy Squirrel by Melanie Watt. It's just a kid's book, and about this squirrel. I don't know, it just the illustrations caught my eye. Yeah, I guess perhaps I'll do a short review of it later on. But it was alright. It was at least pretty enjoyable as far as children's books go. And then I also read McElligot's Pool by Dr. Seuss, and also If I Ran the Zoo by Dr. Seuss. And if you didn't know, like a while ago, I think I mentioned, I don't remember exactly in which video of mine, because I have this collection of Dr. Seuss books. I guess it's like this big, thick book. So I've just been like reading through it, and it was a book that I originally gave to my niece and nephew like over 10, 12 years ago, I think. But so I've been reading through it. I read those. I haven't reviewed them yet, but I definitely will. And then I also listened to the audiobook of Final Girls by Riley Sager. And I get to review this too, but I definitely will. I liked it for the most part, I guess, but I felt like the first half of it felt very slow for me, just very slow, and I also felt like there's way too many details being thrown out, like, I mean, I guess it makes sense, like the author, she wanted to throw people off so they wouldn't be able to, you know, guess the ending, and which I guess I'll say, like, I think I did feel somewhat surprised by the ending. Not really too much. The yeah, I don't know. I won't say any more because I will get into more detail about it when I do my separate review of it. So, yeah. And then last, I read Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. Actually, at the moment, I'm pretty much through with it. I'm like 90% done with it. So pretty much, I believe by the time I upload this, I should be completely finished with it. So, yeah, all I can say about it is that it's another one that, for me, I felt like it had a slow start, and so I didn't, yeah, I don't know, I guess, really I wasn't expecting much from it. Yeah, I don't know, maybe I was missing something, but, you know, but yeah, I won't say any more than that, because I'm going to review it separately too, so. Yeah, that was everything that I read. So, yeah, I don't know what else to say. Let me know if you, any of you read these two, whatnot. And so that'll do it. Thanks for watching this. Thanks for listening. As always, next time, don't forget, keep it real, keep on rocking, and peace.